In a time when idiocracy has arrived and politicians do nothing but lie and fight over power, two men rose up from the ashes with a message to unite everyone.
Mind your damn business. Hey everybody, how's it going tonight? My name's Greg. This is Marco. Welcome to our third episode of Mind Your Damn Business. So we might as well start off with the pressing issue of these riots / protests going on down. Well, they kind of creeped up to Canada now, and all across the states, places are burning. I think people are being pretty, in my opinion, ridiculous. What happened was obviously wrong. We can all agree on that, but there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And I think the wrong way is getting more attention than the right way. And it's not good, not good for our country, because what's going to happen is the state's going to step in and we're all going to suffer.
It's scary what's going on, man. I can't believe. So I understand. It's amazing how one issue can have such like multi-partisan support, because let's be honest, this was a clear act of police brutality against George Floyd. We get it. The problem is you have all these groups now, right? You've got Black Lives Matter, then you have people saying all lives matter, and then you have people saying like check your white privilege. The problem is and then we get like this looting where you had a 70-year-old retired cop getting killed over televisions. Targets are being destroyed. I saw Steve's music store in Montreal getting destroyed. Places all over the United States are being torched. I mean, people are getting beat up. And I mean, the problem is what you're doing now is you're already, the starting point is bad, because it's group, not individuals, right? Because if there was a radical amount of individualism and you had people looking at each other like we're human beings, doesn't matter what this looks like, it's what's on the inside that counts, maybe we wouldn't be having so much of this.
That's right.
It's scary, because now what's going to happen is you're looting. How are people going to be able to pay their bills? How are people going to be able to go to work now? People are going to be going to funerals for loved ones. That's just going to create more backlash, is it not? I mean, this is insane. Like, you're crying out loud. I mean, even George Floyd's brother's like, stop the violence. It's not doing anything to help. And it's not.
No,
I understand that peaceful protesting, like kneeling at the anthem or whatever, or just standing outside and yelling, might not do anything. But at least if you're going to loot, like, I'm not trying to incite a riot here by any means, so don't come after me. But why isn't the energy strictly being devoted towards the lawmakers, maybe the officers, the people who are in charge?
Well,
don't target.
Well, yeah, I don't agree with burning down private businesses or hurting individual innocents. You know what I mean? Like, they have nothing to do with this. This is definitely a case of the need of police reform, better training,
big time.
And I don't believe, statistically, it's not a racial thing, because cops have been doing killings of every race across countries.
Yep.
And again, and it's not all cops. This is an individual case. These are all individual cases. In a country that you have like 1 million cops, you're going to get bad apples. It's going to happen in any industry that you have 1 million employees. You're going to have the bad apples, and we need a better system to weed out these bad apples.
It's spilled into Canada, which is kind of sad. I understand that there's issues that are universal, that transcend more than just one country. But I mean, the thing is I understand that Canadians, like, we have our own issues with policing. I mean, you can ask people in Indigenous communities, right, about that. We see it all the time. You know, people aren't being treated very well. There's definitely got to be some profiling for sure here. It's not just because I hate seeing this like smug sense of Canadian superiority where, oh, those Americans, those Americans, those Americans. But meanwhile, what about our own backyard? You know, but the thing is that they're protesting about what's going on in the States. Try protesting what's going on here. You'll find a lot of stuff to dig up. But then again, if you're protesting here, there's going to be looting and rioting. Like, you have to make sure, again, peaceful. You know, it may not seem as effective, but it sure as hell beats killing people, I think. But
of course, well, it's gone beyond racial issues. Like, we saw 2 nights ago that you know, these looters were looting a store, and a 72-year-old retired black police officer,
yeah, the 70-year-old police officer, yeah,
was shot in the head for some TVs.
yeah.
Well, if Black Lives Matter, why are you shooting black people?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the perpetrator was also African American.
Right. It's not, that has nothing to do with race. That is that is these sick individuals using this as an excuse to do crime.
That's all it is. That's all it is. If you really want to break it down to the racial makeup, I mean, you look at the 4 officers with the Lloyd murder, right? You had a white guy, an Asian guy, I think a Middle Eastern one, and what was the other one? Also a white guy? I don't remember. But either way, it was a diverse group of people. And then what are you going to say, right?
Right.
I mean, but this is the problem. This is the starting point. I honestly think it's racist in and of itself to say, well, this guy from this racial group did it to this guy of this racial group, and therefore, no. Unless there was like an actual like targeted, racially motivated move, epithets were being screamed that were like racially charged, then I get that. But the problem is, like, what would have happened if the officer was also African American and did that, right? We don't see, and we don't see, like, we're saying like, oh, like even the Asian officers and the Middle Eastern officer, whatever that was involved, and what was the other one also? Like, they were involved in it, and people are calling for their heads too, and I get it, and that's great. They were all fired. They're going to be hopefully convicted. They were charged. They were arrested, but we don't see, like, how come we're not seeing outrage over that and saying that, well, this race hates that race? It seems to always be, we seem to be going back in time where it's still a black and white issue, black versus white, and it's sad to me. Like, what the hell was the civil rights movement fought over? You know,
right?
It's crazy.
Right. I don't think it should be. I think when things like this happen, I think we should do as much as possible, maybe, to keep race out of it.
Yeah.
You know, we need to recognize that this is a bad individual who wore a badge and did a horrible, horrible thing. Now, there's, you know, these two probably knew each other because they worked together. So, you know, we don't know the backstory. So, I don't know. I just think I agree with the protests in general.
Yeah.
That we need the police reform, and this kind of stuff needs to stop happening.
Yeah.
And I disagree with the police response towards the peaceful protesters.
With the rubber bullets and all that, yeah.
Yeah, and the pepper spray and everything.
Yeah.
That's what's causing the looters as well.
Yeah.
The more bad response the police in the state have, the more bad response you're going to have from the people.
I mean, there have been cases like that police sheriff, for example, who made waves. I forget, was it in Minnesota or whatever, where he was jumping up and down and like singing, like, and saying with the protesters, like, that he was there to march with them, and there was a bunch of cops like taking a knee, and then so I mean there are some good parts to it. I hope it's not just for PR.
But you hardly even see that
at
all on the news. All you're going to see is the rioting and the terrible things.
Yeah.
So
sad.
And that's the other big problem, and I don't really know how to solve that with the media, because the media is for private profit business, and they're just going to report what they think is going to bring in the most ratings, which is obviously always going to be violence and bad things.
Yeah, although the publicly funded broadcasters are going to be sensationalizing stuff too. So because it's even though they don't have to worry about
that's what I mean. I don't know how to solve the problem, because the public funded broadcasters, they're going to do what the state wants.
Yeah,
and the state is only going to portray propaganda through them.
It's up to the people to stand up and say this is enough. Like, start covering what you have to. Don't just sensationalize and Trump this and Trump that and it's always going to be because every time you say that it's a racial thing, right? People are going to tune in and they're going to, oh my God, and and for any of the good stories, they're going to get overshadowed, right? And it sucks. That's why when I saw that sheriff basically in solidarity with the protesters, I'm surprised that even made the news, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, me too. Because again, it's all sensationalism.
Yeah.
It's all about, and certain people have known this forever.
Yeah.
Like, you can look back in music, and like back in the 90s and 2000s, they were talking about that.
Yeah.
How the news is just all propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
But, the main masses don't listen. Like, they don't wake up to it. They don't care. If it doesn't affect them personally, they're not going to give a shit. And that's sad, really. The
biggest issue that I've always had every time the issue of racism comes up is, like I mentioned earlier, about the whole collectivism versus individualism, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also the fact that, here's the thing. Remember when Ford the other day came out, Doug Ford, and he said that Canada doesn't have systemic racism, doesn't have roots in systemic racism like the United States did, and he caught a lot of flack for that. Mm-hmm. Problem is, I try to look at it like a third way, because people go, yes, we do, and we need to be really guilty about what we've done, right? Because that's what the left does. The lefties are all about guilt, apologize, pay reparations, whatever. Even if you didn't own slaves, even if your family, doesn't matter. We have to feel guilty and always hang our heads in shame. But then you get other people who maybe they're a little bit more sympathetic to it, I guess. And then here's my problem is that I think Thomas Sowell, the famous economist, said it pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, racism is not dead. It's just basically been kept on life support under the guise of anti-racism, right? Affirmative action programs, where you're deliberately hiring people based on, say, their racial makeup, and
it's only one race, though. It's only black people. And that predominantly affects the Asians.
Well, a lot of times they say like if you look at, say, a job application, I know I've seen in the past it was like visible minorities. Well, first of all, you look at the term minority, it's usually like a small marginalized group, and then saying that they're visible. I'm sorry, I always take it. Call me nitpicky, but it sounds like you're saying, yeah, you look marginalized, so let me help you. Let me give you this crutch. Damn those white people.
Well, what is a minority though? Like, and what is a white person?
Right.
Right. But let's be real here.
Don't bleed red.
Well, what is a white person? Is it Russian, English? Is it Canadian?
Green?
What is a white person? Is it Irish?
What is a black person? Caribbean or African? What are they? Where are they from? They have completely different histories
and completely different cultures.
Yes, exactly.
So this is why you can't base anything on skin color, because people of the same skin color could be from totally opposite ends of the world. You
can't lump anybody in the same group. Asians especially, right? I mean, especially blacks, Asians, anybody, I should say, Middle Eastern, white, like you said.
Anybody.
It's crazy. And I mean, when you look at things, like I said, affirmative action, you look at things like, we're all the same despite our differences. Well, what differences are those? Like, I can understand if it was like characteristics, but then what are you saying, right? And then we're talking about, white privilege, meaning that, because I asked somebody to define that for me who believed in this concept, and they said, well, it means that if you walk down the street and you see a police officer, you're not going to be thinking to yourself, today could be my last day on earth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, as a Caucasian person, when I see a police officer, given the garbage that I've seen with the way that a lot of them act, I actually do get a little tense. I actually
fuck yeah.
you know
I
what I
get
mean?
nervous as fuck. I'll get even pulled over for speeding. I'll be like, shit.
Right,
I get
right.
nervous. I can feel my heart rate start racing. I get
Yeah,
all fucking anxiety and shit. But I think that's natural for everybody because
well, that's it. And
you
I think
see.
that saying white privilege is racist in and of itself. I think it's not doing any favors for unity,
Well,
right?
no,
It's saying
and
that
that's my whole point. Like, if you want to fight racism, you can't pick out an individual race to do it with, because that inherently is racist by itself.
nobody's. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not discounting atrocities happening. Canada is no stranger to it. I mean, we just put what was her name, Viola Desmond, on the $10 bill. What is she known as? Canada's version of Rosa Parks. What does that mean, right? It wasn't a bus though. She was in a movie theater where they had it racially segregated in like I think the 1940s or something.
Okay.
And she said no.
Sat in a white person.
She was in a whites only section. They told her to get out, and she said no. I think she got kicked out. I think, and maybe arrested too, because it did go to court.
Right, but those kind of things should be illegal, right? You shouldn't be
Right.
segregating because of race. That's ridiculous.
No, but
That's stupid.
here's the thing though. I'm all for because this is where it gets tricky, right? I've been accused of being a racist because I say a business should be able to run however they want. If you're putting a whites only sign and no the Jews allowed or whatever, right? You're going to suffer economically.
As a white person, you should be like, I don't want to go there anyways.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. But that's the freedom approach. The statist approach is, how dare you? We need these laws, because they don't trust human beings to be responsible enough to make these decisions. And look, you're going to get morons. It's good and bad and everything. But it's the problem is that when like for example, when Rand Paul caught flack for when they wanted to pass an anti-lynching bill, they almost made it seem like he's in favor of lynching. Like, no, we already have laws in the books here. It's not constitutional.
It's called murder.
Right? Yeah. Or when he came out against the Civil Rights Act, I'm pretty sure he's in favor of civil rights. He's just not in favor of the state enforcing things on private businesses, saying that you have to serve. Like, if I'm a business owner and I have any brain cells, I'm not going to be a moron and say, oh, I only want this group in. I mean, if it's like a rich, like ultra elite, like country club, I understand that they do that anyway with members. I don't know about racial makeup, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, if I'm at like McDonald's, are you telling me that if tomorrow we got rid of all of these these anti-discrimination laws, that McDonald's is just going to all of a sudden put a whites only sign? No,
they want to make money.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Green is the same color for any race. It's green.
Yeah.
That's what it's 2020. Is there bad apples? Of course. But as an individual human being, you should make the decision whether you want to do business with that bad apple or not.
Right.
If you do, then you're a bad apple.
Yeah. And
right?
And
I don't want to be a bad apple.
Nope.
Right? I don't want to discriminate against my brother. Because of this idiot. So I'm not going to do business with this idiot.
Yeah. But then it's going to be, well, they're rich enough. It's not going to hurt them and they don't care. And it's like, no, you can still put them out of business.
Trust me, the richest people have gone bankrupt. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right? There's tons of businesses that were around in the mid-1900s that are no longer around anymore because of certain circumstances. The market kicked them out for whatever circumstance that was.
Yeah. Donald Trump's been on bankrupt a couple times, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's the president of the United States.
Not himself, like his businesses, right?
Yeah.
But like people underestimate what the market power really can be.
And that's the thing. They don't seem to care because that's the problem. When you tell people you're free, go do whatever you want, scares the crap out of them. Right? Because wait, I need some guidance.
Well, we need structure. We're built for
Exactly.
structure.
Exactly. And when you have an education system like that and you build a generation after generation of people like that who become dependent, who say, well, we have to have some rules. Well, some
Yeah,
rules turn into more rules, which turn into more rules and more rules. Where do you draw the line? And then,
yeah, but
you know,
every animal, every species has a hierarchy.
sure.
There's no species that doesn't.
Sure. But there's having like a hierarchy of like, I don't want to say survival of the fittest because that's obviously like an unfortunate criticism that the free market gets because right, I mean the good businesses thrive and the bad businesses fail.
I don't think that's a
Right?
bad concept though.
No,
Like
no,
I think life itself is the survival of the
it
fittest.
is. I think
And
what happens is they lump in the throw under the bus, backstab, cutthroat type of people who are bad apples and really shouldn't be associated with capitalism, in my opinion. So what happens is they get lumped into that and they go, oh, well, see, right? Because there are people who for sure are only going to care about money,
mhm,
right? Right. But the thing is that if you have the power yourself to go, you know what, then I'm not going to give you my business.
that's right. These greedy people who are just about money, they still depend on the market. They still depend on the consumer.
Yeah.
So it's
Or
all
the government, I guess now, but
well, yeah, but in a true market, the power is with the consumer. If I
right.
don't like how you do business or I don't like your product for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not going to buy it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
that's the thing.
in a free open market, if it's a popular product in
Right.
a free market,
Right.
there's going to be a competitor for that product.
Right. So if I'm a business again, and I want to say that only certain people should be allowed in my establishment. The problem is that people don't seem to separate the moral from the legal. They seem to think that might make that almost like that might makes right that you have to have these laws, otherwise they won't be followed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, well, hold on. So I always take a step back and I always go, well, hang on, are you a racist? No, of course not. No. Okay, great. Are you a racist? No, of course not. Well, great. What if you
Yeah,
have, okay? So pretend that you have a have a business.
yeah.
Are you gonna put those values forward? Or are you all of a sudden just gonna put? You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just
even if you put a group of consumers in the room,
yeah.
okay, are you a racist? No. Are you? Are you? No. Okay. So if you see a store that says white customers
You gonna
only,
go there?
you being not a
Yeah,
racist and not agreeing with that, would you go there?
yeah.
So, and I guarantee you that put on the spot, they'd all say no.
But you know what it is too, because I've also gotten the well. What about a big company like Walmart that puts all the little ones out of business and they're the only one in town? Where else am I gonna go?
Yeah, but why is that? Why
Yeah,
why are they the biggest?
yeah.
Because of government regulations has helped them be the biggest.
Well,
When you subsidize it,
nowadays, yeah, because
right from the beginning, when you subsidize a big company like that, they are able to buy their product for cheaper now, right? Because their overall um, output of money is smaller.
but I
So
mean, yeah. Originally, though, I think, and I don't know how far back the subsidies go, but like origin and the regulations. But I mean, originally, like Sam Walton's vision was, he wanted to provide like cheap goods for people and like be like a one-stop shop. I think I have, but I mean, that's the thing. So if you end up doing that and people go to that and they gravitate, you're right. If government's involved, I get it. But if they're not, and it's like a true market, and he just happens to succeed over everybody else,
well, then no one would be bitching because then everyone would be happy and going there, and that's why they succeeded.
that's the thing. But then, like, just devil's advocate would be, okay, suppose that he succeeds and everybody leaves, well, like under a true market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he puts up, well, only like I don't want this group of people in my store. And
Well, then that opens the door for competition.
right. So are you telling me that out of all these people complaining, none of them have any business sense to go, you know what? I'm going to open up a store and I'm going to charge people less than you and I'm going to let everybody in my damn store. You know
Right.
what the problem is? Because they're not that when you create like I was saying a generation after generation of dependency on government and people just stop becoming ambitious. And they don't. Well, I don't want to run a retail store. I don't care. And maybe you don't. But there comes a point where you have to be an adult and you have to take responsibility for your own actions. There are some people who maybe that's what they want to do. They want to get into business and do something, And the problem is that when you have this sort of like one size fits all approach by the government that has to be this way or this way, you're not allowing the dynamic potential of the market to flourish.
That's right.
At all. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting restrictions. You're not letting it grow. You're confining it. So,
right.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know, and that seems to be where we're headed, and people seem to think, oh no, we're okay with that, but under certain rules. Well,
yeah, but you got to think it's easier to grow a monopoly under government regulations than it is under a free market because it kills competition.
Yep.
So it's easier to create a monopoly.
Yep, and every time, right, and that's the thing, and I mean, just going back to the racial thing, I mean, it's again, whenever you start lumping people into, as soon as you start telling people you're of this group and you have these characteristics, or you're like or you tell people enough times that, well, you're okay, you may look a certain way, but it doesn't mean this. Like, there has to be like a better approach, because what's going to happen is, and maybe like naturally people go to different, because I've seen it at my high school, right? You might see people of a certain ethnic makeup hanging out with people of another certain ethnic makeup, but I hung out with everybody, and I see people mixing all the time. Who cares, right? But the problem is every time you hammer that narrative of collectivism, of Black Lives Matter, not all lives matter, not or and then people fight back and they say, well, white lives matter, right? What happens is there's like, they sort of build like a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And because they want to feel like, well, I got to belong to somewhere. So instead of looking, from the outside in, they look to the outside. They look at the outside. The outside in instead of the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If that makes, you know what I mean? And it sucks, right? And then when you see things like Toronto with the racially segregated schools a few years ago, because they were saying that, you know what I mean? Because Black kids aren't learning under the current environment. Where are we? What year is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was like 2008 or 9, I want to say. Are you kidding me? And then I've heard about like all boys schools and all girls schools or something. Like, what's going to happen now is we're going back, right? Like what's next? Are we going to have, racially segregated bathrooms and water fountains again?
Well, that's why I feel like we need school choice and let the individuals choose how they want their kids to be taught, because if government gets involved, we're going to have these crazy rules that everyone's going to have to apply to, no matter what your thoughts or feelings are. And that's the problem with the centralized state making these decisions, because you may agree, you may not agree with it, but it doesn't matter. You don't have a choice. What's crazy to me is we kind of already, that's the thing, right? And we have, like, I don't know if you remember when John Tory was running, he wanted to propose faith-based schools get public funding. That's crazy, because already, like, we're already respecting in some ways racially or even religiously segregated schooling. We have Jewish schools, we have Islamic schools. I can tell you one, because I have 2 jobs, and one of them right now shut down because of COVID, but it's basically it's not like a movie theater, though we have played movies. It's like for special events. I sometimes work an Islamic school graduation, and we have, so what I mean. So that, right. So there, right there is, we only have certain people here. I don't see anybody freaking out about it. I don't see anybody going nuts about it. All I see is, okay, this is what they want. So for school choice, don't get the state involved. Right? Just let people, if they want to send their children to a religious school, they want to send them to a artsy school, a music school, an all Black school, an all white school, an all Native school, let them do it. Yeah. That's the, you know what I mean? That's the individual choice, right?
Right. And the thing is, if our society as a whole, we're so adamant that no, we've moved away from this racially segregated stuff, then those people are really going to be on the fringes, if you will. You know what I mean? They're not going to be seen as like part of the norm. It seems like right now we're bringing that as part of the norm without realizing it.
Right.
Oh, do whatever you want. It's okay. Come over here. Just, we don't even have our own culture. Just fill it with whatever. You're enriching us.
Right.
boom, it's like a powder keg. You have to, you know what I mean? And then the problem is, then you get other people saying, well, no, because if we start setting lines, then it's going to be like a fascist police state. We're going to tell people how to live. And no, it's just saying this is how we live here. The same way that if we were to go to their countries, we're expected to abide by their rules, however we like it or not.
No, yeah. And that's the scare of having a centralized government, is becoming a country like theirs. Right? Like, if they're happy with their country, I really don't think they'd be coming here. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Like, I don't buy into. Again, there is going to be bad apples, but I don't buy into every immigrant is here to change our country. I don't buy into that. I work with a lot of immigrants, to be honest with you. I work with tons of immigrants, and they're all beautiful people. Every single one of them are the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah.
And they'll tell you the same thing. Like, I talk to them, and I'm very blunt with them. I'm like, I'll ask them, why did you come to Canada? Well, because you have a beautiful country. Why wouldn't I want to be here? You know what I mean? That's every one of their response. I want to be here. I want to be part of your country. Like, and I'm like, great, cool. Awesome. You know what I mean? And I, and I'll talk about the differences with them between our country and their country, and and we'll have great conversations. And none of them are like, say, well, I want to bring my culture here. That's never come out of their mouth. They don't want. They want to learn about us.
Yeah.
But they want to keep their culture within their own home, which they should.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's why you'll see like certain like restaurants opening up that are that are of a particular community. You might see them certain people speaking their native tongue to one another instead of English or French. I know that bugs people, some people, I guess, but whatever.
Mind your business.
Not harming anybody.
Mind your business. They're talking. They're talking in their tongue because it's easier for them to understand each other because that's what they're used to. If me and you were in Spain or in like Afghanistan or something, I'm not talking to you in Afghan. I'm talking to you in English.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just hypocritical to think it's any different.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even trying to bump into my conversation? This is an AB thing. See your way out of it.
Yeah. well, that's it. I mean, it's sad, and I this is the thing, right? And
like, don't be a Karen.
Don't be a Karen. Yeah, don't be a Karen. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen those videos.
Hardworking people that come here, and exactly. Ask them too, and they tell you, "Oh, my country didn't have as many opportunities." It tells you the power of the market, though, because Canada. I keep saying it all the time. We're drifting into if we aren't already there, we're fastly becoming a socialist hellhole. I'll say it right now. Mm-hmm. Just because we're not Venezuela yet. Venezuela didn't think that they would be 30 years ago.
Well, I said that to you. I say that all the time to people. It's like, oh, it never happened here. It never happened here. Yeah. Well, you talk to a Venezuelan person 30 years ago, they would tell you the same thing. It would never happen here. We are the richest country in Latin America. We're never going to go like that. And here we are. But they are like that.
But despite that, because we have market forces.
It took one bad leader to turn Venezuela from the richest country in Latin America to the poorest.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people say other things like it's interventionism from the States, and there's he's an authoritarian, he's not a socialist, without realizing that socialism relies on authoritarianism. Even if you put democratic in front of the word, you either have force or freedom. It's that cut and dry.
All right. Well, here's the other thing too. If we're going to talk, we always talk about freedom of private businesses. Well, I think that has to go to the same of freedom of what country I want to deal with. So if the states don't want to deal with Venezuela, why should they? Right. Like, I don't. It's not my business. I live in Canada, first of all, right? Do I if I could get cheap oil from Venezuela, I would.
Yeah.
But first I'd build our pipelines and make it cheaper than them, and try to sell our oil to the States more and sell it across the ocean.
Yeah.
But we have dumb leaders and dumb fucking environmentalist terrorists, in my opinion, that stop our progress in Canada.
We're getting it from the Saudis because it's cheaper.
Oh, we get it from Venezuela too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure we do.
The head chopping Saudis because they're so great on human rights.
Well, so yeah, same with Venezuela. That Madero's a murderer.
Oh, 100%.
So, so Justin Trudeau is the biggest hypocrite. All our politicians are the biggest hypocrite. Yeah. Harper was too. Harper was selling weapons to the Saudis, buying oil off Venezuela. Yet these leaders over there are chopping heads off and killing their own citizens. Like we shouldn't be doing business with these people at all. Period. And what really, if you think about it, Canada should be the most set up country in this world. We have oil, we have gold, we have a large amount of other minerals like iron, nickel, everything you could imagine. We have a lot of minerals. We have it. We have the most fresh water. We have the most forestry. We have,
I know.
Like we have a whole section of land of prairie that is prime fucking farmland. And you're telling me that we depend so much on free trade and shit instead of building up our own infrastructure? This is crazy. We should be so self-reliant, it should be not even a question. We have so much open land here for forestry and farming, and we have so much open land here. There's so much of fresh water, so much everything, so many minerals, oil. We have everything here in our country, yet we have politicians that buy this stuff from other countries. Like, why are we buying it from other countries when we have it here?
I'm fine with, yeah, free trade isn't the issue for me, because again, it goes back to freedom. If I'm able to get it cheaper and hopefully of good quality, right? Because that's
how could it be cheaper coming from somewhere else if you can make it here? How could that possibly be cheaper?
Well, labor costs, I guess, is probably the big issue. Is my understanding of it, but
again, why is it cheap labor in these places? And you got to look into that, right?
Yeah, I know. Like, why is it
cheap labor in Venezuela? Yeah. Well, because they have a crappy government that treats their people like shit. Why do they have crap? Why is it cheap oil from Saudi? Well, because they have a shitty government that treats their people like shit.
Well, then this gets into the whole sweatshop argument, right? Like, is it better to have a sweatshop in Africa, or should we shut it down? Because Africa is if there's certain countries that are like poor as hell, better than nothing, right? So then we get it from them, and then I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, we don't even have free trade. It's just managed trade anyway, right? Because the thing is, like, is slapping tariffs on products going to help the consumer, or is it going to hurt the consumer?
Well, it definitely hurts the consumer.
Well, that's the thing, because then we're going to end up paying more. But I hear you. I know what you're saying. We have a lot. I mean, that's the thing. It's sad. It saddens me for sure that we're relying on the Saudi Arabian head choppers, an absolute monarchy. Mm-hmm. I'm always going to try and take digs at any kind of monarchy. I'll tell you that right now. But and we're going to do a show on that one day. We're going to maybe do 2 shows. Who knows? But I mean, these guys are horrible. We're supposed to be this beacon of liberty and human rights, and we're getting our oil, something that we rely on to make a lot of stuff, from Saudi Arabia? Are you kidding me?
And selling back weapons.
Now, you mentioned, oh, by the way, just switching gears, you said Harper's name. Mm-hmm. You following this conservative leadership race coming up in mid-June? Like, it's coming up soon. What a joke this is, right? Unbelievable.
It's frustrating to even pay attention to it, because it's a group of the most there's two different groups.
Yeah.
2 of them are the most fakest people I've ever laid eyes on, and that is McKay and O'Toole. They're fake as fuck.
They're status quo.
Oh my God, they're fake. Like, you just look at their platforms, and then you look at their platforms in the past, and you're like, what morals do you have? You don't have any.
What platform?
Like, McKay's a chameleon.
Oh.
Like, McKay is he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He is a power-hungry motherfucker. Yeah. You cannot trust that McKay. as far as you can throw that guy. Just look at the face on it. Just look at his face. You can tell in his eyes. You look in his eyes, you're like, you're a sly snake. You're a snake, McKay. You can tell. You can tell he's a snake. Just look how he treated his parties in the past. He was part of the Progressive Party, and he made a deal to not merge parties. As soon as he got power, what did he do? He merged the fucking party. Yeah. And then he fucking, like, he has no morals. He is a snake. He is a Trudeau. He is a Harper. He is a snake. That O'Toole is the same way. He is a snake. He will just go with wherever the wind blows. Like his platform will change from election to election, no morals. Now, one thing I can say about Sloan, I don't agree with like some of the things that he says, like about the LGBTQ community and convergent therapy and stuff. I think that shit's stupid.
Yeah.
Like lay off, man. Like get off get off it. Like religion and politics, in my opinion, need to be separated because politics is supposed to represent everybody, and it can't, and not everybody is down for religion. And you may be, I may be, I may not, you may not, but it doesn't belong for everybody. And he needs to get out of there. And same with the other chick. She is the same way. Yeah, she's the same way. She's a hardcore social conservative.
Yeah.
Right? And we can't have that either because they have fucked up morals. Well, a lot of people liked Harper, but I think a lot of people liked Harper because they don't like Trudeau, which is fair, but you got to put that in perspective.
Yeah. Harper
was like, he grew the government to the biggest size that it's ever been pre-Trudeau. Mm-hmm. He signed Agenda 2030.
That's a lot of money. And they used the excuse for conservative supporters was, well, all those years he had a minority government. So what? What were they going to do? What were these other parties going to do? They were going to fight and then throw another election? I think if that would have happened, Harper might have gotten a majority sooner.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly.
The guy was spending like a drunken sailor.
Yeah, well, we see it with Ford, right? Ford is no better than Wynne. Are you kidding me? Ford has spent just as much or more than Wynne. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything with that whole education thing. He just gave in to pretty much everything. He didn't do anything.
I'm still waiting for him to cash in on that promise where minimum wage workers were not supposed to be paying provincial income tax. I'm still waiting because when I did my tax returns, I had to do provincial and federal, I'm pretty sure. But I think I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure.
To me, Doug Ford is a big dummy that just listens. He doesn't, and he speaks whatever is in his ear.
You know who I think the real premier of Ontario is? At first, I thought it was Vic Fideli, and then he kind of stepped aside and went somewhere else to another, I think, post. I think it's Christine Elliott. I think she's the one pulling the strings. That's just my own personal opinion. So I don't want to get flack and a slander or libel suit. That's just my own opinion. She at least has a brain. Okay, Dougie's just a puppet,
Oh, jeez, he's a dummy. He is a dummy.
I missed Rob Ford. I'm not gonna lie. It's sad that I missed the crack smoking mayor. He got stuff done.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I mean, you look at the CPC leadership, and basically, this is what you got. You've got middle of the road, milquetoast, status quo. We're not basically what they are just lefties doing the speed limit, and then sometimes they will floor the car, and then people are going to go, "Oh my God, conservatives!" Right? And the conservative supporters are going to, "Well, Trudeau." It's going to be a same cycle, and then you got these other candidates. It seems like there's only 4 right now.
Well, McKay is a liberal. I don't know how people don't see it. He was all progressive.
Progressive conservative.
Progressive conservative. He was the leader of the progressive conservatives.
And they're not gonna get the other ones. Sloan and Lewis are very socially conservative. The party's already expressed that their views aren't welcome. A lot of Canadians aren't going to support it. Fair enough. I'm not I used to be a social conservative, and then I realized I think it's a little extreme. I think it's messed up to think.
I think it oppresses people's rights.
That's why I stopped. Yeah.
Right. Come on, man. This whole conversion therapy is a lost issue. Like that shit's been debunked years ago. See, this is a little bit hilarious part. No one likes a fucking Karen, but our government is the biggest fucking Karen out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Has been for a long time, and people
start fucking recognizing. Like,
what's the thing, right? People are protesting the coronavirus. They're protesting the riots. They're not I mean, there's obviously going to be some protest of the gun ban, but then they're looked at as fringe and whatnot. And I get people are, we don't just want anybody to have guns and all that, but the thing is why there's so many other issues to be focusing on, and the thing is I'm hearing. Well, then we need to get Parliament back in session. My view is all the parties are the same anyway, and nobody's life, liberty, or property is ever safe when those sons of you-know-whats are in session.
I'd rather just stop paying them.
Right, stop paying them. Put them on CERB.
Yep. No, fuck that. They applied for CERB.
Yeah, the wage subsidy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just stop paying our taxes and stop paying them because they ain't doing fuck all but keeping us in our houses.
Yeah.
And they're hurting people. Like, there's even the Star today had an article saying like this is starting to hurt people more than it's doing any good.
Yeah, you know what's bad when the Star is.
Yeah, if the Star's saying that, there's a big problem here.
Yeah.
Right, and it goes back to the comments. You got to think logically here. If your head health person in your country is telling you it's okay to protest,
yeah, after saying it wasn't,
right. This is the thing. You got to think about this. Exactly what you just said. A couple weeks ago, the people protesting were yahoos. It was not safe. We shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, foreign policy.
2 weeks later, it's okay to protest this. Well, why? Because
just don't yell.
Yeah, but because it goes with your agenda. That's what it is. It goes with her or whatever it is agenda, and then it's okay to do it now. But if you're going against what I want you to do, then no, cut that off, you yahoos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a shirt actually. That's gonna be our next product for sure. I'm a fucking yahoo.
I'm a yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo Army. I'm a Yahoo.
We'll look into that. Yeah.
I'm making that shirt this weekend. I'm a Yahoo.
Proud Yahoo.
Yeah, a proud Yahoo.
That's the thing, because they're saying you congregate in large groups, you can't have people over because you can get COVID or whatever, and all of a sudden it's okay. Well, fine, you can protest, but don't be loud. What does noise have to do with it?
Yeah. Don't yell.
Yeah, don't.
Well, I guess if you're yelling, spit comes out.
As long as you're wearing a mask, you can protest. Is that? I don't know. And again, what would be fun? I just thought about it now. I wonder if we can maybe get a guest on, a doctor, scientist, a microbiologist, if we can, to talk about the effectiveness of these masks. Because are they effective, or is it just as simple as, or is it as futile as building a chain link fence to stop mosquitoes from getting through? You know what I mean? It's.
Well, how effective is it? And what's the ill effect of wearing them for a long period of time?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't see doctors walking around the hospital wearing their surgical mask everywhere. They wear it they wear it during surgery.
Yeah.
Or if they're close to an infected patient or stuff. If they're just walking the halls, they're not wearing their surgical mask.
Well, no, exactly.
But how healthy? I got to wear it for 8 hours a day, right? Pretty much. Yeah. So, how healthy is that? You're breathing in. You have to be breathing in some of your carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
You have to be. There's no exhale. And then if it's stopping a virus and air from getting in, then it's obviously stopping it from all getting out. So, I don't get it.
A dead patient is a true patient in Canada.
Fuck, sometimes my breath stinks and it fucking sucks wearing that shit.
Oh, you're breathing that in? Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. If you go out for you smoke a cigarette and then you put the mask back on.
Oh yeah, you have a coffee. Holy fuck, coffee and a cigarette, and then you put the mask on. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. No. It reminds me of that Claret's commercial. With the bouncing donut and the bouncing coffee,
oh yeah.
You'd agree.
Man, that takes me back. Holy shit.
Yeah. You can make a little video about that, eh? Wearing a mask and all the coffee shit goes into your mask. You're like, oh my god, this is fucking brutal.
And you see like the medical personnel with like the nurses and the doctors. It's like they got like the almost like the farmer's tan on their face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing, right? With the weather getting warmer now, and I have to wear that on the bus.
Yeah, I wear it in a hot ass factory.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah, it's you sweat like it's gross.
yeah. I'm not into it, man. I'm not into it.
Neither am I. So I don't buy into the hype. I was like, come on, man, what is there? How many infected people compared to the population of Canada? Like, we've had 40 cases in my area.
Yeah.
No one's fucking getting it. Or we've all had it and we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Like, I'm not worried about it. And
I've heard that's a possibility,
keeping us locked down is crazy. Like, and it's not just adults that are being affected. Think of the kids. Like, the kids can't go to Wonderland. They can't go to the beach. They can't go to provincial park camping. They can't, they can't play their sports like they used to. They can't, they can't even go and see their friends right now.
Or for the kids that are back in school, like they're on the playground, they can't. There's like these social distancing circles that you can probably find them on the internet. Maybe we should post that to our website, show some pictures of that. Because could you imagine getting in trouble? Oh, how dare you go and play with that kid? Because you could infect them, Timmy.
Yeah, but you don't even fucking talk about spreading fear. Like, come on, man. Hey, this is ridiculous, these lockdowns. Like, July 1st, I know a lot of people, like, I had somebody came up to me at work yesterday saying, hey, these protests July 1st, I have 150 friends going. Like, and that's one person. Like, I think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
July 1st in Ottawa at that provincial building. So I think it's just going to be full of people saying enough is enough. You guys, like, people got to realize these guys work for us. If enough people say enough is enough, they're going to bow down because they're about votes. They're about getting reelected. And if they realize the tide is turning against what they're doing, they will change their tune. Because I'm sorry, like, we are still a democracy. We still do get a vote. And if enough people come out and show them that we don't agree with these lockdowns, they will change their tune. I think we do see it with Doug Ford a little bit. I think he's starting to see the pressure a little bit because these protests at Queen's Park are growing and growing every weekend. Because, and now, now that Tam has said that it's okay to go out and protest, giddy up.
Giddy up.
Because you can't say it's okay to protest for this and not this now. Because that will truly show your hypocrisy. Yeah, you can't go back now.
No.
So giddy up. Get out there.
Should be interesting to see what happens in the coming months, right? Exactly.
Yeah, because there's no fear of getting in trouble anymore because you fucker said it was okay. Fucking who propaganda loving motherfucker Tam, she said it's okay, so I'm going to go out. I'm going to go on my bullhorn and I'm going to do some yelling.
Uh-oh.
But, maybe when I'm yelling, I'll put the mask on to please them. Just have the mask on. Really.
You speak through the mask?
Yeah.
Wear your Beaver Army shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking, it's either going to be this one. I made a red one for Louis Riot today.
Yeah. That's, oh, yeah.
The white one.
That Louis Riel, what a polarizing figure. that would be an interesting topic to cover for sure later on.
Well, I think we, if you individually read about Louis Riel and what he stood for, what he actually was trying to do.
Yeah.
He wasn't a traitor. He was saying, our government's getting too powerful and they're taking our rights and he's taking our land. And
stand up for the rights of his people, really.
That's right. Yeah. So he felt the government was getting too big. So it's the same fight that we're fighting today.
Yeah.
Our government's getting too big. They're taking land. They're taking rights away. You know, the same thing we're fighting today is the same thing Louis Riel said back then. Only Louis Riel had the guts to fucking do something about it.
And he met the noose for it.
Well,
So.
he did, but you know, that guy could have got. He didn't have to. He could have said, "Oh yeah, I'm insane," you know.
Yeah.
But again, that was the government too. That jury that said that Louis Riel was guilty, they also said we should have mercy and not to hang him. It was the judge who individually said, "Nope, noose him."
You have to wonder if some racism played a part in that too.
You had to wonder that the government didn't step in and say, "Hey, we got to get rid of this guy." And you know, so you can't tell me that, you know, if the jury says, you know, we got to have mercy on this guy, and there was talks of him being insane. Why would that judge just be like, no, kill him? You know, there had, to me personally, I think there was an outside interference.
Probably.
Yeah. Because the government wanted him out of the way anyways.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was
right? If you kept him alive in jail, then there was still hope for his people. Their leader was still alive. You've just actually probably given them more incentive to fight because you've put my leader in jail now. So
exactly.
You know, they wanted that rebellion done, over with, and you know, if he was such a treasonous person, why do we have such a big memorial for him?
I mean, we have memorials for other people too, right? It's
not someone who committed treason.
Yeah, that's it. Then that's why he's polarizing, because some people would see him as a threat for his cause, and some people because they yeah, exactly. It was like back then, this guy's crazy. What's wrong with him? And other people said, no, this guy was a hero.
I don't know any country that puts a big memorial up for someone who committed treason.
That's it, right? So
because he didn't commit treason, he was a founding father.
He was, yeah, he was.
He just didn't like how the other founding fathers were doing it.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, his main goal was advancing the rights of his people. So
that's right. And if he felt like, you know, like if they do it to them, they're going to do it to everybody else. So, you know, like we got to stop this shit now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, propaganda, the government is bigger than the individual, right? It takes the populace of the people to make a difference. One person can't do it. Because one person will be branded a terrorist and a treasonous.
Right. They'll be branded as a Yahoo.
A Yahoo. Yeah, that's how it starts.
Yeah.
But a group of people, that's a difference. Now we're the voting bloc. Now we're the majority.
Well, you look at a country like, I mean, it's a small country, but you look at Iceland, right? Now, Iceland, after the 2008 financial crisis, they're a perfect example of they really like, okay, we got to get our you know what together. Now, granted, they're like a little more center left, I guess you can say, but they did do things like, we're not going to bail out the banks. We can't even say that we did that, right? So, and they sent like corrupt bankers to jail. What they also did, this is where the people power comes in. Not only did their president, who's a figurehead, because they haven't had a monarch for like over a century, because he used to be part of the Danish monarch, and then they went, nah, we want to be a republic. Hint, hint, Canada. So the prime minister at the time, and I guess the government was like, yeah, you know what? So basically there were these two banks. They have a bank in Iceland called IceSave, right? And I think there was one in like, I want to say like the UK and one in like the Netherlands. Anyway, other places. They said, well, listen, can we get a bailout because we're not doing so well? So the government was like, yeah, absolutely. President stepped in. He has the constitutional authority to go, oh, hold on a second. I don't agree with this. So I'm going to put it to a referendum to the people. He did that on 2 occasions. People overwhelmingly voted against the bailouts. Also, what happened was citizens' assemblies started to form. And guess what these citizens' assemblies ended up doing? They ended up doing what's called crowdsourcing a brand new constitution. In like, I think 2013, as recently as then, like it was like a few years ago. They went on Facebook, Twitter, etc. They started drafting different, hey, listen, we should include this. We should omit that. They started talking like you and I or other people would be just, what should we do over the course of, I guess, a couple months or whatever it was? And people got sent it to the government, and they drafted a new constitution that way. That's one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard in my life about people.
You gotta have a willing government too.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't feel we have a willing government. I think our government has an agenda, and that's the way they're going. And they don't give a shit what you or I think.
They don't, but you got to try. Because right now,
you got to try. But if it comes to a point, we gotta vote these guys out.
Yeah.
Like we gotta wake up the masses somehow.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but for a lot of these people in this country, it's going to have to hit rock bottom and affect them to realize, well, maybe I should have listened. Maybe I should have not. Maybe I shouldn't have voted for him this time because, shit, how did I not see the direction this country was going? Like, we either got to make the change or we're going to go full blown communists. I don't know what any other way it's going to be.
We're gonna and we're going to accept it.
Well, no, there's no accepting it. I ain't ever gonna accept no communism.
We're not.
It's gonna be forced upon me, and it's gonna be bullshit. And I'm gonna bitch every fucking day about it, and I'm gonna protest every fucking time I get a chance.
Yeah, but it's okay because apparently we have a queen, and she's gonna stop.
She's not. She's a commie herself. She's a straight up commie. That queen. Are you kidding me?
Who knows? I don't know.
How is she not? How she make her money? How she make her fucking money off the taxpayer? That's a full blown commie.
And but remember they have private estates too. But here's what kills me, right? These private estates were handed down generations ago.
Who paid for that?
Exactly. Were they conquered?
Taxes, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
taxes.
Taxes
paid for everything.
I've never been able to get a clear answer because it's like, well, it was passed on from this king and that. Okay, but how did that acquire it? The property isn't just going to sit there. Like, did the king this king? Like, we go way back to the first person that owned the duchy of Cornwall or Lancaster. Did they just go and say, okay, I'm going to buy this property, or did they conquer?
Well, they conquered it.
Yeah,
but buildings were paid for by taxes.
Of course they are. These people take helicopters to take like a 10-minute flight. These guys are crazy, and people are supporting this crap because they're so. This is what kills me, right? People are so cynical of politicians, yet they support them. Oh, well, I just got to hold my nose. How about don't hold your nose? How about don't vote for any evil? I don't care if it's lesser or greater. Don't vote for any. I know. Well, who isn't evil? Well, can you run? Maybe you should get. You know what I mean? And yet, so then they'll say that. Well, I don't want like Stephen Harper as my head of state. Don't choose him as your head of state then.
I'd love to see nobody vote.
Yeah, it's just.
I'd love just to see nobody be like, what? Fuck all of y'all.
That'd be amazing. That's
not one person vote.
No, it's instead what they're probably going to do is they're going to do what Australia does. You mark my words, they're going to bring in mandatory voting. That'll be the day, huh?
Well, what are you going to do if the whole country doesn't vote? Mandate this.
That's what wouldn't that be nice, eh?
Right? They're going to arrest the whole country? No.
Well, that's it. What happens if everyone just stopped? No, I'm not. I don't support any of these guys.
Yeah, no, I don't support paying you anymore.
Yeah.
No, I don't support that.
Yeah. No. Atlas Shrugged, man. This is like something out of Atlas Shrugged. People are eventually just going to stop production. I'm done. And you see it now. It's it's sad.
Well, you're going to definitely see if they continue with these stupid ass payments to everybody. People are going to be like, I see it at my work. People are refusing to come back. Like, what? I know a guy who's not going back because he wants to play video games. Right? He's been called. Well, that's the whole thing. He's still getting paid from work, and he's still getting served. So, what the hell is he? Why would he come back? He's making more money at home, playing video games. He's gonna write.
I often thought, like, should I
write that shit out?
I honestly thought, like, should we all just flood the system, get on CERB so it collapses quicker? Yeah, like.
Well, it'd be fucking. Our system's gonna collapse sooner or later. Get ready for it.
That's the thing. But is it going to collapse with Trudeau at the helm, or are we going to finally get a new prime minister and then he's going to get the blame?
We can, we can blame everybody before this.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been built up to this point. It just didn't just happen. It's been built up through generations of bullshit government building and growing and growing and growing and growing. Because every new issue comes up apparently requires new legislation. So throughout times, we've always had issues. So throughout time, there's been more and more legislation. It never gets rolled back.
No,
That's what I'm worried about this. Like, once the state takes power, they don't really like giving it back.
Nope. The roots start getting firmly planted. You know, like those temporary government programs, the temporary income tax. Boy, it's been temporary for over 100 years.
Yeah. And July 1st, make your voices heard. Get out to Ottawa or get out to your local legislative building. Let them know that you're not cool with these lockdowns anymore. You know,
write to your MPs. Just write to them.
Write to them, call them, bombard them.
Letter to the editor of the papers. You know.
Yeah, let them know. Let your voices be heard. Get the signs out. You know, let's do this because this is getting ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Well, on that note, thanks again to our partners down south, think-liberty.com. And till next week, guys. Hope you guys have a good, safe week. And
mind your damn business.
Mind your business. Don't be a Karen. All right, have a good guys.